Michael used to have a peculiar pastime which involved running up to people and pinching their bottoms. Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse!
My shirt may be dirty, but my jumper's clean.
Belt up or feel the pain.
Typical sexist, chauvinistic, conservative attitude.
I had my penis held in my hand. I think it's mine. I gave it a tug just to make sure, and the resulting pain indicated that it was indeed my own penis. Well, at least that's something, I suppose. At least I'm holding my own penis. But why am I holding my own penis? And where the heck am I?
They can read all about it, read all about it.
We could probably get away with killing them here, now.
The only thing a boy needs are his parents.
Avenue! An action-packed, dark comic drama. Lots of violence, guns, explosions, espionage, dramatic car chases, and Morris dancing.
They can read all about it, read all about it.
Can you feel my energy, boys? Can you feel my energy? And now it's time to kill the evil, animal-hating British bastards. Sorry, I was trying to make a serious point, but now I've ended up talking about incest and necrophilia. You'd be surprised how often that happens with me. This man was a premeditating psychopath.
Read all about it, read all about it.
It's transgressive, but in a sophisticated sort of way. I like it. Hello, Happy World Book Day. Now, the rather confusing collage of clips. Lovely bit of alliteration there for you. It is World Book Day after all, so I'm pulling out all the stops here with my literary skills. The rather confusing collage of clips comes from the audio version of the Young'uns book, The Young'uns Bound Together, which is available either in softback or as a digital audiobook. And it's World Book Day today, so I thought it might be quite nice to remind you that you can buy the Young'uns book. You can do it from theyoung'uns.co.uk, you can click on the shop link, or you can use any search engine of your choosing and type in the Young'uns book, or the Young'uns Bound Together. I mean, you know how to use a search engine, I assume. It's not a very good sales technique to start patronising people, is it really? An intelligent, attractive person like you clearly know how to use a search engine. Anyway, go on, shut. Just talking to my cupboard. Because that's what people do, isn't it? Talk to the cupboards. I record in a cupboard, and I tugged a wire and the cupboard opened. You see, if you bought more books, I might be able to afford a recording studio rather than having to record in this cramped cupboard. Anyway, and it was while reading the audiobook version, which I did a couple of months after the softback version was out, I suddenly realised that we missed out a chapter. Completely missed out a chapter. Now, I don't know whether it was me who didn't include the chapter or whether Michael had taken it out, because it's not very favourable towards Michael. And I think Michael was maybe a little bit embarrassed, and he took it out. He hasn't admitted to this. Well, I have my suspicions. Anyway, not to worry, because we're going to read it out now. And it'll be fine, because Michael's in Kenya at the moment on his honeymoon. So he's a bit preoccupied, and apparently the Wi-Fi is not very good either. So we'll be fine. We'll get away with this. It's called Michael's Backstory. I'm going to read it to you now. Michael... Oh, well, maybe in a less high-pitched voice. I'm not sure why I started so high. I've got to give myself room to manoeuvre. You know, at one point I've got to do the voice of a lady. If I start narrating it like, Michael, at that pitch, I'm going to get myself into a lot of trouble doing that. Right. Michael. That's much better. I'm sure you'll agree. That's more like it, isn't it? Don't worry. We'll get on with this. We'll get the book read eventually. It'll happen eventually. Don't worry. The audio version isn't like this. I just read it straight. For people who pay, I actually deliver quality. There's none of this prevarication. But this is a free thing, so I'm just enjoying myself. Anyway, here we go. Michael has a habit of getting distracted and sometimes finds it difficult to concentrate on just the one conversation at a time. And often at festivals and gigs, there are other people waving or making eye contact with him. Most of the time, he manages to get away with this, because usually people are just saying the generic things like how much they've enjoyed the gig. Naturally, only to be expected, because we are, of course, brilliant. So Michael's distractedness doesn't really catch him out. He can simply nod and smile and say thank you, while also acknowledging all the other people. There have been times, however, that this technique has backfired on Michael with rather interesting and painful consequences. A lady who we've met a few times at previous gigs came up to us to thank us and say how much she'd really enjoyed the gig. Michael, who was also trying to sell CDs to people at the same time, while also acknowledging the smiles and waves from various other people, was doing his half-listening routine again, saying thank you and smiling and nodding his head at the lady, but not really listening properly. Yes, a wonderful gig, the lady enthusiastically declared. Thank you, responded Michael, whilst handing another man a CD and accepting a £10 note from him. This is the first time that I've been out for 4 months, she said. Michael nodded and then smiled at someone else who had just waved and mouthed thank you on their way out from the venue. I've been incapacitated for the last 4 months, you see, in bed with horrific back pain. It's still not great, to be honest, and I'm in a lot of pain, but I had to come out to see you tonight, and I'm really glad that I did. Michael smiled and nodded at the lady and mouthed a thank you to someone else who had just bought a CD. I'm still in a hell of a lot of pain, but your music tonight really helped take my mind off it. Thank you so much. She went in for a tentative hug, obviously not wanting to hug too hard due to her bad back. Sean and I, who had probably been listening to the lady's backstory, gave her a very gentle hug. Michael, on the other hand, who had not been listening, saw a hug taking place, and because we'd seen the lady a few times before, he went in for a rather enthusiastic hug, launching himself at the woman, grabbing her in a bear hug, and started banging her on the back. The lady was gasping in shock, doubled over in pain, and Sean and I had to wrestle Michael off her. Funnily enough, we've not seen that lady since. Apologies if she's listening. We apologise if we got your back up a bit. Another example where Michael not listening properly got him into trouble was during a European shanty festival. After a gig, we were approached by a rather camp Polish man who came up to us to tell us how much he'd enjoyed the gig. Michael again was doing his usual half-listening while selling CDs and acknowledging other people routine. I especially enjoyed you, the man added. That's my attempt at a camp Polish accent there. I especially enjoyed you, the man added, pointing at Michael. I think the Polish man had studied in England for quite a while, incidentally, just in case you were wondering what was going on with the accent there. Now, I believe he went to university in England, so I'm kind of factoring that into my accent. It's all very clever the way I'm doing it. You were probably thinking, oh, it's just a bit lackluster, it's a bit all over the place. No, that's a rather good approximation, if I do say so, which I do. If you don't believe me, maybe you missed it, you can rewind the podcast and verify that for yourself. But I definitely did just say that. Sorry. He had a bit of a cough as well, the camp Polish man. I especially enjoyed you, the man added, pointing at Michael. Michael, not hearing the words, but seeing the broad smile that was on the man's face, and the fact that he was pointing at him, responded with a broad smile of his own. Thank you, Michael replied. In fact, I would like to enjoy you some more, if you know what I mean. The man's smile broadened further, and so Michael heightened his own smile and enthusiasm to match the man's. Michael's smile broadened, and he nodded his head vigorously. Great, said Michael, completely oblivious to what he was getting himself into. Great, the camp Polish man agreed, very pleased indeed with the way that things were unfolding. Tonight we meet, yes? Michael nodded, still completely oblivious. And tonight, he continued, I give you a night to remember. Michael saw the beaming smile and the fact that the man was turning to leave, and so Michael went in for his customary hug. See you later, said the man, hugging Michael very tightly and grinning widely. Yes, sir, see you later, my friend, Michael enthusiastically responded. Sean and I had to explain to a rather baffled Mr. Hughes what had just unfolded and what he'd just agreed to. This put Michael in a rather odd moral quandary. You see, being brought up a good Catholic boy, he tries his best to be honest and a man of his word. So what to do? He'd essentially agreed to spend the night with this camp Polish man. Now, I don't think it's my place to reveal any more about this. If you want the rest of this story, if indeed there is one, I'm not going to divulge that, then you'll have to wait until Michael releases his own book, which I believe currently has the working title of My Night of Passion with a Camp Polish Man and Other Stories. So there you go, that's a little extract from, well, it's not an extract from the book, it didn't make it into the book, so if you enjoyed that, you can buy the book and get more stories like that, and if you didn't enjoy that, then buy the book anyway, because that story isn't in it. So there you go, basically, buy the book, that's the message. The book is a collection of little tales about things like that have happened to us over the years that we've been together, and also the stories behind the songs that we sing in the Young'uns, the songs that we have written. Chapter titles include The Wrestling Theologians, Sleep Walk of Shame, In Bed with a Drunken, Gassy, Oversensitive Frenchman, and An Angry Old Meditator. So go to theyoung'uns.co.uk, you can click on the shop and the book is there. So this is an atypically short podcast, but if you want more of me, and listen to the audiobook, or there's loads of other Young'uns podcasts available. Thank you very much for listening. Assuming that you were listening. Oh, I hope you weren't doing a Michael Hughes and listening to 6 other podcasts at the same time. Thank you for listening. From me, David Eagle, goodbye.